A warm welcome once again. Now we are going to move to the second part of our people skill, that is team management. In the previous people skills, we have studied the 20 skills that were required, and team management was one of a very important part of it. So, now let's see what are the team management techniques and what does it say. So, the methods adopted for effective team management. The first method is management of goals and tasks. Every team needs to have a goal that is to be achieved, and accordingly, the task will be distributed between the different team members. So, effective teams have clear goals, and all the team members have properly understood that what are the tasks involved into it and how to accept the goals and move further. When this is being done, a proper supervision is needed for this. Why? Because a control and a supervision will help the process to run smoothly, and from time to time a feedback can be given, a check can be done so that the progress that is being achieved by individual team members is good, and accordingly the inputs can be given. At the same time, the manager should ensure that proper access and direction has been followed by all the team members to achieve the goals. So, by this way, a team can be well managed. The second is your proper planning. When we say proper planning, it means when is to be done, what is to be done, how it is to be done, and by whom it is to be done are the points that of discussion. A good planning is very crucial to the team because every team need to know why they exist, what they are supposed to be accomplishing at the end of the task, and who else is involved with them in the team. This is going to create a clear, transparent picture and help the team achieve their goals very quickly. Proper planning helps in formulating and implementing the plans by examining the different alternatives and selecting activities. Effective planning also helps in dividing the work into logical tasks, assigning the task based on the number of resources that are being available. These resources are being given to accordingly delegating of the responsibilities, developing information on communication system across the organizations. The method, the third method is organizing. When we are saying organized, an individual starts this from himself. So, an effective team could not be done by properly organizing issues of team and clarification of authority. There should be a proper organization of work within the team, a lead who is going to be taken by one individual who is going to see to it that my team members are along with me. If the team is self-directed, no issues. It is empowered with the authority to make certain decisions and work activities. But if the team is not self-managed, then it becomes very important for organizing the work. Work teams can be given more authority about what they do, when they do, and if organizational culture is supportive, then it is very good thing. The team should know its authority constraints. They should properly understand that what kind of environment they are into, what is their working pattern, and accordingly move further for achieving their goals. The fourth method is effective leadership. As we have seen in the prior slides also, leadership is very important part of a team. So effective team leaders are required for efficient team management. Leaders, they direct the efforts of their team members. Team leader is more of a coach and a facilitator. He is not just going to be a person in charge who is not going to give orders, but rather he is going to take each and every member of his team along with him. At times, he is going to encourage the people who needs motivation. At times, he is also going to pat the back of the individuals who are doing exceedingly good. So, a team leader should have a strong interpersonal skill so that he can understand the teamwork duties. Team leader or a leader is going to promote the individual participation. So this is how effective leadership is very important. Next method is controlling. In controlling a team, the manager must consider two important parts. So what does this control talks about? Does this control talks about having a very close observation when an individual is working? Yes, it may create a problem. The person may become very conscious. So, in controlling, the manager has to answer how will the team's performance be evaluated. And second, when the work is being evaluated, what are the reward systems that will be given? So, control does not mean holding a stick in the hand and just observing the work and giving directions. But controlling means how the work is to be assessed, how the productivity has to be cross checked, and then accordingly moving further. So, manager normally use a collective monitoring system in deciding team awards and in performance evaluation. So, needs and preference of a team job are being understood. Members are being given their individual job roles according to the skills that they are having and qualities they possess. And those who are appropriate for that job, they will be doing their jobs. By this way, the controlling will be made very easy, and those who achieve the best results by achieving their targets, they will be rewarded. The sixth method for effective team management is team spirit and shared values. So effective monitoring should be done for team members to follow the standards of behavior. Effective monitoring should not only see to the behavior but attitude that all members of the team should be agree and follow. So when a team is going to be talking about the team spirit and shared values, it is equally important that they should be having shared values within them. All of them should thrive to work for a single goal. Moving further, now we'll see that there are certain team rules that are to be performed. Belgians have been very famous and they have done a thorough study on this. So now in short, we'll study what are the different team roles into it. The first role is of a creator. Now what do you mean by creator? A plant. Plant is a team source of original ideas, suggestions and proposals. This could be imaginative in nature, but though it is imaginative, new ideas are being found, and when they are being explored, then a thorough study is being done how to implement it. So, a creator is the imaginative role, but it is excellent for exploring, searching various sources of implementation. Second role is of a leader. Under leader, again, we have two parts. One is a leader who is going to be a coordinator and other leader who could be a shaper. So a leader who is a coordinator, they are best suited to lead the team. These coordinators who presides over the team and coordinate its effect to meet external goals and targets. They see to it that all the people come along with them. They coordinate with each and every individual, though they are different in nature, different in skills, and different in qualities. These individuals are also said to be as social leaders because they are calm in nature, they are very self-confident, and they are controlled. It means they are not aggressive at all. Second category of the leader is the shaper. These individuals are like the principal function. This principal function is to give shape to the application of the team effort. They are very unique. They have their own set of ideas. They have clear objectives and practical considerations. In contrast to the coordinators, these individuals are more expressive, they are confident enough, but at the same time, they bring or they contribute a lot to a team when it is being working. The third team role is said to be as an implementer. Now, again, in implementer, we have two categories. First one is a team builder. The team builder has an ability to respond to people and to situations and to promote team spirit. He's going to build to the team. When he's building a team, he should see to it, he should manage the situations and build a good team spirit. These individuals are very good mediators between team members and between the management. They are very clear about the performance of each and every individual of their team. Whereas the second type of your team implementers is the team implementer. Team implementer is a person who turns decisions and strategies into defined and management tasks. Team implementer are rather a practical organizer. They are conservative and predictable. They are very hardworking and disciplined in nature because they know what is to be implemented, where the decisions are to be taken, and finally how the strategic outcome should be there. The fourth type of team role is completer. In completer, again, you have two subtypes, monitor evaluators and complete finisher. Monitor evaluators, or over here it has been prefixed as MEs. These are the members who play the role of overall evaluating the team performance. And how they are going to evaluate the role? With standard rules and regulations. They are very good at analytics, and that is why they are good at evaluation. But on the other side, they may lag behind in creativity and intelligence. It's not 100%. The second category of your completers is complete finisher. As the name suggests, these are the individuals who are perfectionist. They don't worry about what might go wrong, and they never ease until they have personality checked every detail and made sure that everything has been confirmed, completed in time, and nothing has been overlooked. That is why they are said to be as complete finishers. Now we move on to the what are the different types of team leaderships. These are the team leaderships where the team is going to be coming together, but with the help of a leader, one who is having strategic leadership. So a strategic leadership provides the umbrella under which team devises appropriate strategies and create value. Under this type of leadership, the vision, the purpose, and the direction is being provided to the team, and simultaneously a complete roadmap is ready with them. Only the team members are supposed to follow the directions and complete the objectives. Strategic leaders make sure always that the team is moving in the right direction. And why? Because their right direction is going to be achieving the organizational goals and objectives. The second category of team leadership is result-based leaderships. These leaderships are based on those who are especially striving for excellence in certain attributes and who are result-oriented. They mainly focus on what resources they have, what are the capabilities of the individuals within their team, how effectively those capabilities can be utilized, and how to achieve the desired results. That is why the name is result-based leadership. Third category is your volatility leadership. Under volatility leadership, leaders help in guiding teams in volatile times. This is where the team has to act very boldly. Why? Because they want to safeguard their organization from the changes or certain threats within the environment. There could be ups and downs in an organization or some difficult times, the organization is facing. So this is again a very good type of leadership. Fourth is your entrepreneurial leadership. Entrepreneurial leadership involves instilling the confidence to think new, creative, and out of box. This leader encourages team members to come up with new ideas, not only coming up with new ideas, but commercializing those ideas into actions. And when these actions are being put forth, definitely they are creative in nature, innovative, and they find the resources season for exploiting good opportunities. They are good team builders and know how to manage risk. So also you can say that entrepreneurial leadership, these individuals are risk takers as well. The fifth category is situational leadership. Situational leadership styles are vary accordingly to the employees' competencies in their areas and their commitments towards their task. There are only four types. There are mainly four styles of leading: directing, coaching, supporting, and delegating. These four situational leadership can be in any kind according to the situation. Sometimes any one or all four types of leadership can be used by a leader. So a leader can be a equally coach and a directing leader. A leader can be a coach and a support. A leader can be a support and delegate the activities accordingly. Sixth type is your super leadership. Super leadership style mainly focus on empowered self-leadership. A super leader is an individual who leads others to lead themselves. How he does this? Through designing and implementing teaches employees to be self-leaders. The main function of a super leader is not to create followers but to create leaders. Very few, but super leadership leads to high team performance, flexibility and development, self-confidence among team members. And the last category is value-based leadership. Value-based leadership includes all the three factors. One, effectiveness, so measuring the achievement of the objectives. Secondly, morality, how change affects concerned parties. And third, measuring the desirability of any goals over time. So value-based leadership is to lead by understanding the values, needs of the followers and creating such conditions in which all the followers can perform effectively and independently towards a single objective. So with the help of time, with the help of value, they are going to be working together. And then comes the final principle-centered leadership. Under the principle-centered leadership, these are of the character who work on the basis of natural principles. And their principle centered too is life, relationship and profession. They usually lead the teams on the basis of their principles and individual thoughts. So when a effective leader is being there, what are the skills needed for building a team leadership? So effective leadership is leading. Leadership is about getting others to take action by good communication skills. Okay. So when we say communication skill, a proper communication, a proper free flow and exchange of information, thoughts and ideas is equally important. The effective leadership should result in high productivity. There should be no stress in the team. A proper high motivation should be given to the employees. More profits oriented should be there. And at the same time, there should be clarity and creativity in their vision. This then leads to the third, effective listening. So for effective team building, effective listening is equally important. because it is an equal part of your communication. When effective listening is being done, that individuals should have an intellectual and emotional effect. A total concentration should be there. So it is said that those who have good listening skills, they are more clear about their goals, objectives, and they have good direction to achieve their goals. Collaboration of the work. Collaboration enables understanding team process. Collaboration implies that team members are working together. Collaboration also ensures that this working is being efficiently and interpersonally. Through collaboration, the roles are being understood, the responsibilities of team members, leaders, and managers, and organizational involvement. Next is risk taking and innovation skill. So, changing scenario in corporate usually involves creative thinking, unique solutions and new ideas, as well as reasonable risk-taking ability. This is very important for a team building. Employees having these qualities can perform very better. Equally, team coordination, as we have studied, is important for effective functioning. And at the same time, technical and problem-solving skills help the organization to achieve team goals. Now we talk about a team development. When team is being developed, the balanced roles are there. People with different work preferences must gain entry into teams rather than like-minded peoples. Because different roles will be assigned to different people. There should be open communication, be it flexible. There should be a proper handling of the stress, which is being equally distributed and it is being reduced. The team goals should be very much clear. There should be a review of performance from time to time to have a proper control of it. Teams need different form of relationship at different times. So there should be an exchange of roles between them. The team meetings should be well organized and there should be a proper understanding of each other's expressions. A consensus should be taken within the members to see to it that they agree before implementing on any point. Thank you so much.